On my 80th birthday, my husband and adopted daughter pushed me onto the rooftop and let me fall to my death. After I died, they even dug up my ancestral grave. All because, over 60 years ago, a poor student I sponsored asked me for milk powder money, and I refused. I advised her to abort the child, but she dropped out of school to give birth and eventually died in a rented apartment without money for hospital care. My husband held a grudge against me. "It's all your fault that Scarlett died. If only you had given the money, I would have married her by now." But it doesn't matter, the adopted daughter you took in is actually the child between me and Scarlett. After you die, all the money will be hers. Luckily you refused to have children, serves you right. Only then did I realize that the tuition and living expenses I provided for my husband's university education had been used to raise the child he fathered with Scarlett. In this second life, you want to have children, do you? Go ahead and have them. Let's see if you can even scrape together enough for baby formula. Before my 80th birthday, I always thought I'd been lucky in this life. Born into wealth, cherished by my parents, and the only child in the family. Growing up, I smoothly took over the family business. In matters of the heart, all was steady too. I married the boy my family had sponsored since childhood. Our marriage was blissful, and my husband respected my wish not to have children. We adopted an adorable, well-behaved girl instead. Our adopted daughter grew up to attend a prestigious university and later joined the company under my arrangement. My entire life passed without illness or calamity. It wasn't until my 70s that I needed a wheelchair when walking became difficult. But I never expected that on my 80th birthday, my adopted daughter would join forces with her husband to push me onto the rooftop. They told me it was all because of the impoverished student I'd sponsored many years ago. "If it weren't for you, I'd have been with Scarlett long ago. You had so much money, why couldn't you spare just a little for Scarlett to raise our child? If you'd given the money, Scarlett wouldn't have dropped out of school and died in that rented room. I've endured all these years just for this moment. I want you to feel exactly what Scarlett suffered back then." My adopted daughter chimed in beside him. I couldn't believe it and confronted her. "Amelia, how could you do this to me? You've been so good to me all these years and even handed the company over to me, and this is how you repay me?" The daughter I painstakingly raised now looks at me with pure hatred in her eyes. "You were never my mother to begin with. It's all your fault, you never gave my real mother money. If it weren't for you, my birth mother would still be fine. Would I even have to acknowledge you as my mother? You deserve all of this." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My husband sneered at me and said, "Bet you didn't see this coming, did you? Amelia is actually mine and Scarlett's daughter. After Scarlett died, I raised her all by myself. Thanks to you not wanting children, I had every reason to bring her home openly. Let me tell you, you deserve this. All your family's assets will be inherited by me and Scarlett's daughter in the future. I'll dig up your family graves and make sure your parents never rest in peace. This is your punishment for refusing to give money and being a heartless rich bitch." Only then did I remember, 2 days ago, my husband had tricked me into making a will stating that after my death, all assets would be inherited by our daughter. I initially thought that since I was getting on in years, to prevent relatives from causing trouble for my adopted daughter after my death, I would follow his wishes. Little did I know they would turn against me today. In the end, my husband and adopted daughter pushed me off the rooftop, and I fell to my death. After I died, my ashes were thrown into a filthy ditch, and even my parents' graves were desecrated by them. Given a second chance at life, they won't get a single penny from me. Let's see if the two of them can scrape together enough to buy baby formula. I checked the time. I had been reborn to the first semester of my senior year in high school. I found myself standing in the unfamiliar high school classroom, seizing the break between classes to make a phone call. I asked my parents to cut off the financial support for Caden and Scarlett. Though I'd lived to 80 in my past life, this rebirth felt like I'd simply gained an extra set of memories. My temperament still leaned more toward my younger self, perhaps influenced by my current body. My parents sounded concerned after hearing my request, asking if someone at school had bullied me. They insisted I should tell them if anything happened, not endure it alone. Hearing their voices only fueled my anger. In my past life, my poor judgment had brought calamity upon my parents even after my death. It's okay, Mom and Dad, I'll handle it myself. Just remember to cut off their financial support. My parents didn't press further and agreed. Later that afternoon, a friend called out to me at the door. Sienna, someone's looking for you outside. I went out and sure enough, it was Scarlett. She was wearing her school uniform, which barely concealed her slightly protruding belly. She glanced around at the people nearby, then whispered pleadingly to me, Sienna, I need to talk to you. Can we go somewhere private? Her teary-eyed expression made it seem like I had bullied her. People around us instinctively turned to look. In my previous life, I had agreed to her request and found a secluded spot. But when she dropped out of school, rumors spread that I had bullied a classmate, causing Scarlett to leave. Although our classmates didn't believe it, my reputation at school deteriorated. Back then, I couldn't be bothered to explain. Later, this incident was dug up as a dark mark from my past and used against me by business rivals in smear campaigns, requiring considerable effort to clarify. Sorry, I'm not ready to talk with you. This time, I turned around immediately to return to my seat. Don't go, please, I'm begging you. Scarlett suddenly knelt down, grasping my clothes as tears instantly streamed down her face. Someone help. There's emotional blackmail happening here. Oh my God, even high schoolers are pulling scams now. I didn't do anything. Quick, go get a teacher, someone's trying to frame me. Since Scarlett didn't want others to know, I deliberately made a scene. I shouted loudly, and hearing there was drama to watch, a crowd quickly gathered around us. Our classmates also stepped forward to speak up for me. Scarlett, even if Sienna's family is wealthy, there's no need for you to go this far. Listening to the whispers around her, Scarlett's face turned pale. I just wanted to ask her for help. Seizing the moment, I pulled my clothes back from her grip and took a step back to avoid any false accusations. After all, she was newly pregnant. If she miscarried, who would take the blame? If you're telling the truth, then stand up. Who kneels when asking for help? Seems to me like you're trying to frame me. Scarlett had no choice but to stand up, tears welling in her eyes, looking utterly pitiful. Since you want my help, just say it. Scarlett glanced around, unable to speak, only lowering her head and staring at the ground. The onlookers, seeing her prolonged silence, teased with a few playful shouts. Speak up, playing mute now? Yeah, what's so private you can't say it in public? I shouted at the people around me. Just shut up already. Keep talking and she'll be kneeling before you. Then all of us will be counted as group bullying. You'll end up implicating yourselves while watching the show. The crowd fell silent, but the impression that Scarlett was emotionally blackmailing them stuck. Seeing she still didn't react after a while, I got ready to leave. Suddenly she let out a sharp cry. Could you lend me some money? Borrow money? Why? I can't say, just give me a few $100,000 and that'll do. As soon as she said this, everyone around gasped. A few $100,000? Scarlett sure had some nerve. No. Why? Clearly a few $100,000 is just pocket money to you for a month, why can't you lend it to me? I do have money, but why should I just hand it over to you for no reason? Scarlett clutched her clothes, putting on the pitiful look of a delicate white flower. If you don't give me money, I won't take the college entrance exam. Then all the money you've spent on me before will have been wasted. I laughed. In my past life, Scarlett had threatened me the same way. But my financial support was out of kindness, whether she took the exam or not was none of my concern. Even if she did well, it wouldn't benefit me in the slightest. Of course, I refused and even cut off her funding. Since she didn't need it, I might as well give it to someone who truly did, someone who at least wouldn't get pregnant before marriage and ruin their own future. After hearing Scarlett's words, everyone around thought she had lost her mind. My friend glanced at me with a mocking expression. Why are you sponsoring an idiot? Being stupid is one thing, but this idiot even tries to fake accidents for money, I complained. Scarlett seemed angry and yelled at me. How dare you insult me like this? Just because you have some money? Who even wants your money? Fine, then I'll cut off your sponsorship. Since you dislike it, I'll give it to others who actually need help. No, how could you do this? That's my money. I chuckled as I tugged at my friend's arm. What if we treat the living allowance I gave her as a scholarship? My friend pondered for a moment, then said, count me in. Our school was one of the top private institutions, attended mostly by children from wealthy families, though it also admitted some academically outstanding students from impoverished backgrounds. My parents always taught me to be empathetic and engage in public welfare. So I used my pocket money to sponsor several dozen students. Most people at school knew about this. Sometimes when those I sponsored encountered difficulties, they'd come to me, and I was happy to help financially. But with so many people, you inevitably encounter all sorts of characters. Scarlett completely took me for a fool, even expecting me to cover her pregnancy expenses, as if that would ever happen. Scarlett grew frantic. No, you're bullying me. That money is mine. How dare you give it to someone else? I didn't care. She stomped her feet in anger. I looked at her and asked with a smile. All right, since that's the case, stop making a scene first. Tell me why you need money, I might consider it. You said you need money, so speak up. She quieted down, her eyes darting around as if she'd suffered great injustice. Finally, as though steeling herself, she spoke. Because I'm pregnant. I need money to raise the child. I don't want much, just a few $100,000, enough for me to have the baby. I'll be grateful to you. The crowd gasped in shock, staring at Scarlett's belly. A friend slapped me on the shoulder. You really don't screen who you sponsor, do you? Might as well give the money to me. At least I wouldn't get someone pregnant and then come begging you for support. I knew this incident would probably become the joke of my lifetime at her hands. I told you, give me the money now, Scarlett said urgently, eyeing the rowdy crowd. She wanted to leave but hadn't gotten the cash yet. Is that so? Well, I also said I'd consider it, and after consideration, the answer is no. Scarlett glared at me and asked angrily, I already told you, what gives you the right to refuse? I'm pregnant and need the money. How am I supposed to raise a child as a young woman without your money? I was nearly amused by her audacity. Don't you dare blame your pregnancy on me, it's not like I got you pregnant. Why don't you go find the child's father instead of coming to me? What, is the child mine? In my past life, I advised her to have an abortion, but she flatly refused, saying it was the fruit of love between her and her boyfriend. Her family didn't agree either, yet she'd rather drop out of school than terminate the pregnancy. She even moved alone into a rented apartment. In the end, to save money on hospital fees, she died, and her child became my adopted daughter. But in this life, I won't be raising her kid for her again. You've gone too far. How could you humiliate me like this? You're just jealous, that's why you won't help me. My friend snapped back for me. Girl, if you're sick in the head, go get treated. You don't even have money to raise a child, so why the hell did you have one? Planning to feed it air? You're delusional. Exactly. And jealous of what? Jealous that you got knocked up in high school with a deadbeat dad, then had the nerve to beg for money to have the baby? Despite hearing all this, Scarlett still refused to leave. Right then, Caden showed up. He grabbed Scarlett's hand, positioning himself like a hero shielding her, glaring at me as if I were an enemy. From the look in his eyes, I knew Caden had also been reborn. Sienna, how could you be so vicious? Scarlett is just a defenseless woman, surrounded and bullied by all of you, it's too much. This is outright bullying, have you no conscience? The onlookers grew restless, unwilling to bear the label of bullies just for watching the spectacle. Are you out of your mind? She got pregnant before marriage and then demanded money from Sienna. And now she's putting on this pitiful act. making it seem like we're the ones bullying her. Right, don't you have eyes or ears? I'm telling you she's the one emotionally blackmailing others. Hear that? She's the one emotionally blackmailing. I was just watching the show, didn't do anything. Clearly you know nothing yet came here accusing. Why are you defending her so fiercely? Could you be the baby's father? Caden's expression darkened. When had anyone ever dared point fingers and curse at him like this? Hearing these words, he grabbed Scarlett's hand. That's right, I am the father. Sienna, hand over the money now, or don't blame me for what happens next. Come on then, still trying to rob me? Listen, I'm telling you, my heart belongs only to Scarlett. Don't even dream that I'd ever like you. You're insane. When did I ever say I liked you? And why are you asking me for money? Are you begging? If you've got so much pride, support yourself. Aren't you the child's father? Why aren't you paying up? Caden froze for a moment, then blustered, I don't need your petty money. I can provide for the mother and daughter just fine on my own. Fine, rest assured I'll cut off your funding too. He was stunned. Having lived in privileged comfort for years, he'd long forgotten that I'd been funding his living expenses and tuition since elementary school. Even the money for raising their child during university had been embezzled from the living allowance I provided. These funds were deposited into his account punctually every month, enough to fully cover tuition and living expenses, with plenty left to spare. However, because of this, Caden never developed the habit of saving money. Now that he's broke, what he'll eat next month is a real problem. The thought crossed his mind, but after glancing at Scarlett behind him, he still put on a brave face and said, Fine, keep your money if that's how you want it. What kind of man would I be if I couldn't get by without your handouts? Don't think just because you have some money, everyone has to worship you. At worst, I'll work to support her and the child myself. Scarlett looked at Caden with admiration, and Caden met her gaze. I clapped, what a touching scene. I wonder how long his so-called love can last under the daily grind of putting food on the table. The teacher arrived, inquired about the situation, then took Scarlett and Caden away before summoning both sets of parents. Scarlett's parents immediately slapped Caden several times across the face, then tried to drag Scarlett away for an abortion. But Scarlett stubbornly refused, even threatening to sever ties with her parents. Enraged, they declared they would no longer care for her. Caden's father had passed away during his childhood, leaving only his mother who worked tirelessly to raise him. Hearing that her son got a girl pregnant in high school, she was so angry she fainted. Her health had never been good, and the rage overwhelmed her, she passed away just like that. After handling the funeral, Caden rushed into the classroom and yelled at me, was it on purpose? It's all your fault my mom's gone. I'm telling you, I won't break up with Scarlett. Since my mom's gone, you owe me compensation, at least $2 million. Not a penny less. Are you out of your mind? Wasn't it your own stupid mistake? Bullshit. If it weren't for you, how would my mother have found out? It's all your fault. Seeing the teacher approaching, I didn't want to engage with him any further and had the teacher escort him away. He and Scarlett seemed to believe the whole world was standing in the way of their love. They weren't wrong, it was the world that was wrong. They reveled in the feeling of defying everything for love. But that had nothing to do with me. If they wanted to persist, let them. I asked my parents for a few bodyguards. Caden received a disciplinary record, and since both of them lost their source of income, they had no choice but to find part-time jobs. Scarlett had a weak constitution and couldn't handle physically demanding work. Caden couldn't bear to see her exhausted, so he worked alone to earn money. At first, Caden could barely juggle part-time jobs and school. But as Scarlett's pregnancy progressed, the doctor advised her to nourish her body, she couldn't just survive on plain vegetables anymore. Then there were various medical checkups, each costing hundreds. Gradually, the expenses for Scarlett's pregnancy far exceeded what his part-time wages could cover. In the end, Caden dropped out of school to work and earn money to support Scarlett and her child. He thought he could rely on his talents to land a high-paying job or use his past life memories to make profitable investments. But he forgot that he was just an underage dropout with no qualifications. No legitimate company would hire him. He wanted to invest in promising future companies, only to realize he had no capital, no connections, and no resources, nothing to invest with. Helpless, he could only take on some manual labor to earn a little money. He hoped to save up bit by bit, then make a comeback and make me pay. A few days before the exam, Scarlett went into labor. This time, Caden was prepared in advance and took her to the hospital. Both mother and child were safe and sound. As a result, Scarlett missed the college entrance exam. After giving birth, expenses skyrocketed, formula, diapers, there wasn't a single thing we could cut corners on. In my past life, Caden hired someone to take care of the child, but this time without money, they had to do it themselves. Caden had to work, so the responsibility of taking care of the child fell entirely on Scarlett. Scarlett was just a high school student, and no one had taught her how to be a mother. She had to figure it out on her own. The baby cried in the middle of the night, and they couldn't sleep well. The baby needed to be fed and have its diaper changed constantly. There was no time to rest, and she was completely exhausted. After giving birth, Scarlett had no one to take care of her. To save on medical expenses, she went home early. Without proper rest and recovery, she developed chronic health issues, leaking milk and urine, and even sitting caused back pain. While learning how to care for a baby online, she inevitably came across the lives of other new mothers. They had parents and lovers accompanying them, unlike her being all alone. Facing a life of poverty, she even had to ration the baby's diapers. A friend called. "Scarlett, I got my own phone now. How have you been?" "I'm telling you, I got into university, a bachelor's degree program. My mom finally agreed to buy me a phone, and even gave me several thousand to go traveling and relax properly. That's why I'm only contacting you now. Want to come along? By the way, with grades as good as yours, which university did you get into? I heard your school has a program where the top 10 students get all their college tuition covered, plus cash rewards. Aren't you always in the top few? I'm so jealous of you, you won't have to spend a dime of your own money." Scarlett couldn't find the words to respond and could only hang up the phone under her friend's questioning. Her old friends, who had just finished their college entrance exams, were now enjoying their holidays and dreaming about their future university lives. Meanwhile, she hadn't even taken the test. It seemed like everyone else was living happily, only she remained trapped in a miserable life with no future. She began to regret, was giving birth to this child really the right choice? The once adorable child's cries no longer brought her joy but instead grew increasingly irritating. This child had ruined her, otherwise, she could have been happily preparing for university like her peers. She had been one of the top 10 students in her grade. If it weren't for this, she would have surely entered a prestigious university and secured a promising career. She started daydreaming, what if she didn't have this child, what if she had never met Caden, what if she were still studying like before? But life must go on, and poverty always brings friction. Scarlett and Caden had a fight because Caden thought Scarlett was spending recklessly without saving. "I work so hard to earn money outside, and you just waste it like this. Don't you already have clothes to wear? Why do you need to buy new ones?" Scarlett retorted upon hearing this. "What do you mean? I just bought one piece of clothing, is that too much? It's been months since I last bought anything to wear. And after giving birth, my figure changed so much that none of my old clothes fit anymore, that's why I bought new ones. That's just an excuse for not being able to wear it." Scarlett grew angry at his words. "You're treating me like this because I've had a child. It wasn't like this before. You promised you would treat me well. I gave up my college entrance exams for you. If it weren't for you, I'd be preparing for university right now." Caden grew even angrier upon hearing this. His grades were good too, and with memories from his past life, he actually felt that Scarlett owed him. After all, it wasn't just Scarlett who had made sacrifices. He had given up being with me, abandoned prestigious universities, and relinquished his previous life of wealth and luxury. The thought made his blood boil. Yes, I did it on purpose. If you're unhappy, you can leave. But where exactly could you go? Your parents abandoned you long ago. You don't have a cent to your name. Go ahead and leave if you dare. You'll come crawling back within a day anyway. Scarlett couldn't believe the true face of the man she loved. Weeping, she retreated to the bedroom, shut the door, and pressed her hands tightly over her ears. She didn't want to hear the children crying outside or the sound of Caden throwing things. Yet Scarlett stayed. When she discussed retaking her exams with Caden, he refused. He argued about who would care for their child if she returned to studying. In the end, Scarlett never got to go. Trapped in unbearable loneliness, she developed a gambling habit. At first, it was just small card games to pass the time. Later, friends introduced her to real gambling. She began secretly taking money behind Caden's back to play. At first when she lost, she thought she'd stop after just one more game, but then she won. From that moment on, she couldn't stop herself and became increasingly addicted. As days passed, the love between them gradually faded, and quarrels became routine. Amelia, as she wished in this life, was raised by her biological mother. But her mother didn't like her, let alone want to take care of her. Feeding her was done entirely at the mother's whim. Fortunately, Amelia had memories from her past life, and with Caden's care, she managed to survive. Scarlett didn't understand why Caden treated Amelia so well, but she didn't care. As long as Caden brought money home to fund her gambling habit, that was enough. The money Caden brought home was all squandered by her as gambling funds, with hardly any spent on Amelia. Caden had long wanted to abandon Scarlett, then beg for my forgiveness to continue his lavish lifestyle. But Caden still schemed, since I had no children, I'd have to adopt Amelia and let her inherit the company. He thought I'd forgive him for the child's sake, after which all wealth and glory would remain his. But Amelia initially refused to go with him to find me. He had no choice but to keep persuading her. No matter how Caden tried to reason with her, Amelia remained adamant about staying by Scarlett's side. Amelia, with memories of her past life, had idealized the image of her mother Scarlett in her mind, partly because Scarlett had passed away early while giving birth to her, and partly due to Caden's upbringing. She believed none of my efforts could compare to Scarlett's. In her eyes, I was merely after an heir, while Scarlett was the one who truly loved her. Had Scarlett lived, she would have treated Amelia even better, she would have had a gentler, more loving mother. That's why, at the beginning of this life, she still wanted to stay close to Scarlett and refused to leave. Had high expectations for Scarlett. But Scarlett's actions completely shattered her illusions. Not only did she fail to take good care of her, but she also beat and scolded her whenever she lost at gambling. It's all because of you, you worthless burden, that I've ended up like this. If not for you, I could have been a top student. Would I need to gamble for money? Why don't you just die already? Amelia was just a child, forced to endure the abuse in silence. She still clung to hope, believing it was her own fault. If she just tried hard enough, her mother would change, would see her love, and then finally care for her. Maybe even grow to like her and treat her well. But no, even though Amelia behaved obediently, Scarlett still found her to be a nuisance. Once, when Amelia had a fever and asked Scarlett to buy her medicine, Scarlett refused. She was in a hurry to go gamble and couldn't be bothered with Amelia. "Mom, please, I'm so hot and miserable." "Get lost, you're just faking it. What's the big deal about a fever? Just tough it out." In the end, it was Caden who returned and saved Amelia. When Amelia reached the age to start elementary school, she asked Scarlett for tuition money. Scarlett refused, which angered Caden somewhat. "Where did you spend all the money I give you every month? What's with all this money talk? You barely earn a pittance. Have you seen how much the man next door brings home? There's none to give, and that's final." Caden was angry and about to hit Scarlett, but Amelia stopped him. "Dad, don't hit Mom. I can earn money by picking up trash myself. In the end, the family parted on bad terms, and Amelia had to scavenge for trash every day to save up for her tuition. Just when she finally managed to gather enough, it was snatched away by Scarlett. "Mom, that's the money for my school books, I need to give it to the teacher." "What book money?" "Your money is my money. Can't you study without books?" I didn't have money to buy books back in the day either, but I still did well in exams by borrowing from classmates. "Get lost, don't pull me, I'm in a good mood today and won't hit you, don't force me to beat you up." Amelia had no choice but to watch Scarlett leave. She felt a bit regretful, but refused to accept the reality. In her heart, she could only tell herself, "It's all my fault. It was all because I refused to give her money that led to her mother not loving her." Scarlett's gambling stakes grew increasingly larger, until she eventually lost the family home. Seeing that she truly couldn't conceal the truth any longer, she grew terrified and decided to abscond with the last remaining valuables from the house. "Mom, what are you doing? Get out of my way. If I don't leave now, it'll be too late, they'll kill me." "Mom, don't you want me anymore?" "Want you? My whole life has been ruined because of you. Why the hell would I want you?" Amelia watched Scarlett run away with her own eyes. She called Caden to come back. Later, a group of debt collectors came and kicked both of them out. After finishing the college entrance exams, I took all the money I had originally planned to give Scarlett and Caden for their living expenses and allowances, plus the rewards from my parents, and donated everything as scholarships to students with outstanding academic achievements. Several of my friends heard about this matter and voluntarily donated a considerable amount of money. The school held an event for this purpose. Later, I went to university. After graduating, just like in my previous life, I took over the family company. With the experience from my past life, I performed even better, and the company flourished. One day, my assistant informed me that a man with a child was looking for me downstairs. I had them brought up. It was Caden and Amelia. Amelia was dressed in tattered clothes and appeared much thinner than her peers due to malnutrition. There were many scars on her face, and she walked with a limp. She looked at me with extreme displeasure and said, "It's all your fault that my dad and mom ended up like this. They shouldn't be this way. Even after learning from their past life, why do you still refuse to give them money?" Her expression didn't seem like that of an innocent child. I realized my adopted daughter had also returned. I smiled and replied, "Isn't this what you wanted?" I didn't interfere this time around. "Nonsense. If it weren't for you, how could Mom not love Dad and me anymore? Last lifetime, she was willing to die for me. Dad also said Mom loved him, that she was a gentle and beautiful girl, and if she were alive, she would surely treat me with kindness. But the mom now is just a rotten gambler. It must be because of you that she became like this." I found her expression utterly ridiculous. It was me who got her hooked on gambling. What are you gonna do about it? And why should she like you? You're the one who ruined her future. She's just like you, constantly romanticizing things that never happened. She'd surely think she'd be better off without you. So it's only natural for you to hate me, which means she'll definitely hate you too. Amelia paled, lowering her head while struggling to hold back tears. Seeing our heated confrontation, Caden took Amelia's hand. "Amelia, apologize to Mom right now." "Sienna, I was wrong. For the sake of our child, won't you forgive us?" Amelia looked at me resentfully, but still obediently apologized on the surface. "I'm sorry, Mom. I was wrong. Won't you forgive me? I promise I'll take good care of you from now on." To think they could still harbor such delusions at this point. You really must have lost your minds. Why on earth would I accept your apology? Caden actually seemed somewhat angered by my response and said unhappily, "Sienna, stop being so stubborn. Who else would you leave your property to if not Amelia? You're not having children, who would even marry you? Even if you adopt someone else, the family fortune would still go to outsiders. So why not give it to Amelia? After all, she still calls you mother." You raised her for so long in your past life, how could you bear to see her suffer now? So don't be too harsh. We've already apologized to you. As long as we go back to how things were before, I promise I'll treat you right this time. Amelia also looked up, glaring at me. Yeah, keep this up, and when I inherit the fortune, I'll dump you in a nursing home. You're childless, so you have no choice but to rely on me. Everything you own will be mine someday. Treat me better now, and I might remember your kindness. He was right. I really didn't plan to have children or adopt anymore. But I smiled at the two ungrateful wretches before me. Caden, it's true, I don't intend to have children, nor do I plan to adopt again. Caden's eyes lit up and the corners of his mouth lifted when he heard me say that. I continued, but ever since I was reborn, I asked my parents for one. My younger siblings are already in kindergarten now. Our family's wealth doesn't need you to inherit it. You're truly being wildly imaginative, thinking too highly of yourselves. Caden immediately stood up upon hearing my words, panic written all over his face. How is this possible? How could you do this? If you have younger siblings now, what will happen to Amelia? What will happen to me? Amelia also began to feel afraid, her face betraying panic. Mom, how could you give away my money? I was wrong, I won't dare do it again. Please don't leave me, okay? You're lying to me, right? To shatter their illusions, I made a video call. Big sister, when are you coming back? I miss you so much. Yes, I miss you too, more than he misses you. No, I miss my sister the most. The voices of their younger siblings reached them, leaving Caden and Amelia utterly hopeless, their faces turning pale. I called security to throw both of them out. They tried to resist but were forcibly removed. I informed the debt collectors of their whereabouts, letting them give these two some special attention. From then on, the pair could only live a life on the run from debt collectors. Eventually, Caden couldn't take it anymore and committed suicide. I had someone toss his ashes into a cesspit. Amelia went insane, wandering the streets all day, calling every stranger mom. I worked for a while, then stepped aside for younger talents when my younger siblings grew up. I began enjoying my own life.